The idea of a powerful army preparing to attack Israel as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy is rooted in several passages of Scripture, particularly in the books of Ezekiel and Revelation. Before we start, we'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoy our video, please hit the like button. This will help us reach more people and create content for you. Now let's get started with today's video. Certainly. Below is an in-depth exploration of biblical prophecies related to a powerful army preparing to attack Israel, particularly focusing on the prophetic significance, the scriptures involved, and various interpretations. This discussion aims to explore these prophecies in a comprehensive manner. Introduction. Prophetic significance of Israel in the Bible. Israel holds a central place in biblical prophecy, particularly in the context of the end times. The nation of Israel is frequently depicted as the stage on which significant eschatological events unfold. Many Christians and Jewish scholars believe that the prophecies concerning Israel are integral to understanding God's plan for humanity's future. One of the most discussed and debated prophecies involves the prediction of a powerful army that will one day rise against Israel, leading to a climactic battle that many see as a precursor to the end of the world as we know it. This belief is rooted in various biblical texts, especially in the books of Ezekiel and Revelation, which describe these events in vivid detail. Ezekiel chapters 38 to 39, the prophecy of Gog and Magog. Background of the prophecy. The prophecy of Gog and Magog, found in Ezekiel chapters 38 to 39, is one of the most detailed and significant prophetic passages concerning a future attack on Israel. Ezekiel, a prophet during the Babylonian exile, foretold a time when Israel, having been restored to its land and living in peace, would face a sudden and overwhelming military invasion. Ezekiel chapter 38 verses 1 to 6 sets the stage. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog, of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, This is what the sovereign Lord says, I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets, also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops, the many nations with you. The invasion and its outcome. Ezekiel describes a coalition of nations, led by a figure named Gog, who will gather from the far north and join forces with other nations such as Persia, Cush, and Put to invade Israel. This coalition is often interpreted as symbolizing a massive and powerful alliance of nations set against the people of Israel. The purpose of this invasion is to plunder and destroy Israel, a nation that, according to the prophecy, will be living securely and unsuspecting of such an attack. Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 11 describes this. You will say, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates and bars. Despite the overwhelming might of this invading force, the prophecy foretells that the invasion will not succeed. Instead, God himself will intervene in a dramatic fashion. The description of divine intervention is striking, involving natural disasters such as earthquakes, torrential rain, hailstones, fire, and brimstone. I will summon a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the sovereign Lord. Every man's sword will be against his brother. I will execute judgment on him with plague and bloodshed. I will pour down torrents of rain, hailstones, and burning sulfur on him and on his troops and on the many nations with him. Ezekiel chapter 38 verses 21 to 22. The result of this divine intervention is the total annihilation of the invading forces, so much so that the burial of the dead will take months, as stated in Ezekiel chapter 39 verse 12. For 7 months the house of Israel will be burying them in order to cleanse the land. Interpretations and implications. The prophecy of Gog and Magog has been the subject of much interpretation and speculation throughout history. The identity of Gog, as well as the nations involved, has been a point of debate. Some scholars attempt to identify these nations with historical or contemporary powers, often looking to the north of Israel, modern-day Russia, Turkey, etc., or other geopolitical alliances. Others see the prophecy as more symbolic, representing the forces of evil that will gather against God's people in the end times, regardless of their geographical origin. This symbolic interpretation aligns with a more spiritual or allegorical understanding of the text, where Gog and Magog represent the ultimate enemies of God, who will be decisively defeated. Revelation chapter 20 verses 7 to 10, the final battle of Gog and Magog. The theme of Gog and Magog reappears in the New Testament, in the book of Revelation. However, in this context, the battle is depicted in a different time frame and with a different emphasis. Context of Revelation's prophecy. Revelation chapter 20 verses 7 to 10 describes events that are to occur after the 1,000-year reign of Christ, known as the millennium. During this period, Satan is bound and unable to deceive the nations. However, after the millennium, Satan is released and immediately begins to deceive the nations once again, gathering them for a final battle against God's people. The passage states, when the 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and to gather them for battle. In number they are like the sand on the seashore. They marched across the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of God's people, the city he loves. But fire came down from heaven and devoured them. Differences and similarities with Ezekiel's prophecy. While the names Gog and Magog are used in both Ezekiel and Revelation, their role in Revelation appears more symbolic. Here, they represent the collective forces of evil, mobilized by Satan in a final, desperate attempt to overthrow God's kingdom. The outcome is similar to Ezekiel's prophecy, in that divine intervention leads to the complete destruction of the enemy forces. However, the emphasis in Revelation is on the ultimate defeat of Satan himself, leading to his final judgment and the establishment of a new heaven and new earth. Modern interpretations and speculations in contemporary Christian eschatology, the prophecies of Ezekiel and Revelation are often discussed in the context of current events, particularly the political situation in the Middle East. Many see the rebirth of Israel in 1948 and the ongoing conflicts in the region as potential signs that these prophecies are nearing fulfillment. Some evangelical Christians interpret the alliance of nations described in Ezekiel as pointing to modern geopolitical entities, such as Russia, Iran, ancient Persia, and other nations with a history of animosity toward Israel. The recent alignments and tensions in the region are viewed by some as a prelude to the prophesied invasion. Others take a more cautious approach, warning against the direct application of ancient prophecies to current events. They emphasize the need to consider the symbolic and theological dimensions of these prophecies, rather than merely seeing them as blueprints for specific future events. Conclusion: the fulfillment of prophecy. The prophecy of a powerful army preparing to attack Israel is one of the most dramatic and significant in the Bible. Whether interpreted literally or symbolically, it reflects the ongoing theme in Scripture of the struggle between good and evil, and the ultimate triumph of God over his enemies. For those who take these prophecies literally, the possibility of their fulfillment in the near future is a cause for both concern and hope. Concern, because it implies a time of great conflict and suffering, but hope, because it points to the eventual establishment of God's kingdom on earth, where peace and righteousness will reign. For others, the prophecies serve as powerful symbols of spiritual truths, reminding believers of the ultimate victory of God over the forces of darkness and the promise of a future where God's justice and peace will prevail. As with all biblical prophecy, the key to understanding lies in a balanced approach, taking into account the historical, theological, and spiritual dimensions of the text. Whether these events will unfold exactly as described or in a more symbolic manner, the message remains clear: God is in control, and his purposes will ultimately be fulfilled, bringing about the redemption of his people and the restoration of all creation. The exact timing and nature of these events are subjects of much debate among scholars, theologians, and believers. Some believe we are witnessing the build-up to such events today, while others think these prophecies will be fulfilled in a future that has yet to unfold. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.